So I have figured it out. Now, of course, that's the point of WWE. They will leave Easter eggs so you are meant to go, I know where it's going. Movies do this too. But after the Raw that we did have last night, where we just did a little something, well, it's got me very excited about SummerSlam and beyond. Amazingly, it all comes down to Sami Zayn. Now, we've been talking about this for ages, especially when we talk about SmackDown and the Bloodline 2.0. I think most people believe that when we get to Survivor Series, the War Games was going to be Bloodline versus Bloodline, and you're going to have Roman Reigns' crew versus Solo Sikoa's crew, which probably goes all the way through to WrestleMania where we do Roman Reigns versus Solo Sikoa, because The Rock is going to be tied up with Cody Rhodes, then we can get to the next one, and we can do The Rock versus Roman Reigns, blah, blah, blah. But the deal was, when it came to Roman's side of things, most people expected it to be Jey Uso and Jey Uso, they can reunite, and most people expected it to be Sami Zayn. But given what we have been doing since WrestleMania 40, the idea was, well, how the hell do we get him out of the Intercontinental title picture and all of a sudden reunite him with these people that were essentially horrible to him for a good 2 years? And then we just did it last night, because Sami Zayn is cutting an old promo about Bron Breakker, who is going to challenge for the Intercontinental title at Hot WrestleMania, and he hears a noise in the distance, and like some, I don't know, adventurer, goes to decide what it is, or goes to see what it is, and who's getting beaten up by the Judgment Day. It's Jey Uso. Sami Zayn makes the save. Then we have the tag team match at the end. Jey Uso and Sami Zayn win. Bron Breakker then murders Sami Zayn, because of course I totally believe at SummerSlam, Bron Breakker will finally beat him. He'll then probably go into a feud with Ilya Dragunov, and while I'm sure Sam is desperate to get that Intercontinental title back, he can't, because Roman Reigns will also return at this period, and we'll get the original Bloodline back in there. Guys, but now they're the good faces, now they're the good people taking on the bad people of Solo Sikoa and all of his boys too. This is really good stuff. Now again, it's total speculation by me. I could be totally wrong. I'm rarely right because I'm a massive idiot. But if I am on the money and we do this, I am going to do the Dance of Joy, because I just think that's absolutely tremendous stuff. I think it's really, really smart. I think it's really, really clever. And that moment, I mean, the Usos reuniting, it's going to be great, but people expect it. The Usos reunite with Roman, it's going to be great, but people expect it. But throwing Sami Zayn back in there, whereas now he doesn't have to be the goofball, because he's kind of reinvented himself, although this is why Sami Zayn is arguably the greatest performer of the modern generation, because he can do anything you throw at him. I just think that is going to be one of those moments, much like the moments they gave us in 2022 and 2023. It randomly came on my YouTube algorithm the other day when Sami Zayn just makes them all laugh. It could be the greatest segment to happen in WWE in the last decade. Like Jey Uso keeps rubbing his mouth because he doesn't want to crack up. Roman doesn't care. Roman's just laughing away. It fills you with glee, and I think that's what wrestling is meant to do. And you'll get that again, but in a totally different way. And of course, even if they want to go 5-on-5, because I believe Hikuleo from New Japan has signed with WWE, you can throw Kevin Owens in there as well. Then there's the question of Randy Orton, right? It'd probably be Randy Orton, I suppose. I don't know, but the point is, there's at least 6 people you could throw on Team Roman Reigns, because you could have Roman Reigns, Jey Uso, Jey Uso. Oh no, wait, I'm wrong. Then Sami Zayn, then Randy Orton, and then Kevin Owens. Yeah, so I'm right, there's 6. So you can move people around. Randy Orton probably doesn't need to be in that match, because obviously Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens have the friendship that's been going back years. But this is why I like WWE. And a random aside, it's kind of why I like all of a sudden doing the Sheamus versus Pete Dunne feud. Now, I don't actually think that was on the cards, or maybe it was, and we were going to hold off onto it. But Tyler Bate did get injured, and I hope he is going to be okay. Sounds like quite a bad one. Whoever decided, well, you know what, the Brawling Brutes did kind of finish all funny. That's a story we can tell. It's great, because it rewards you for being a nerd, it rewards you for being a geek. You know that if you do watch this stuff, and you do pay attention like a crazy person, you're going to get a payoff at some point. And even if you don't, it's still better than what it was. And we shouldn't do that with things. We should always try and strive to have the best possible product we can, but still, sometimes beggars can't be choosers. And, I don't know, even 5 years ago, stories would start, and then they just finished. And you'd be watching the show. Sometimes I would have to go back and watch previous Raws, being like, did I make this up? Or did this actually happen? It did happen. We just decided to drop it like a bad habit. So that was my favorite thing about Raw, which was crazy stacked, especially as we do move into SummerSlam. Because CM Punk is cleared. If he's not cleared, he's going to be cleared by SummerSlam, which is all that matters. Drew McIntyre has accepted the match, and Seth Rollins is going to be the special guest referee. And the reason I like about this is, once again, it makes all the sense in the world, because Drew McIntyre and CM Punk to a certain degree were beating up referees and officials, and they can't control their emotions. So if you are a referee and you're not getting paid more, why the hell would I sign on to take that match? Especially because the crazy Scottish guy, he wouldn't even shake my hand. And because we do have all these 3 people in a ring who all profess their love for Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels, and I'm sure The Undertaker as well, let's just repeat the SummerSlam 1997 finish. Now, I actually predicted this for Clash of the Castle. More for me. It makes much more sense if everybody is involved from the off. And yeah, I mean, basically, Seth Rollins should go to hit CM Punk, I would presume, which allows Drew McIntyre to get the win. because I just think that creates even more fire, right? If CM Punk gets the win here, kind of like, oh, he beat the big bad Drew. Even though you could argue that Drew is the good guy in this, he's not getting the cheers that CM Punk is. So, yeah, I would presume that everyone gets into it throughout the whole thing. Because CM Punk hates Seth, and Seth hates Drew, and Drew hates... You know, it's a hate triangle, I suppose, which is kind of funny because we have a love triangle on the same show too. But then, yeah, Seth Rollins can get so damn mad that he... Is that right? Yeah, Seth Rollins gets so damn mad because he's the ref, right? So he swings whatever. It could be a chair, blah, blah, blah. Drew ducks, hits CM Punk, 1, 2, 3. Because next week, let's not forget too, Adam Pearce made it very clear. Drew McIntyre was even like, what the flub are you talking about? You just made up a segment. But we are going to get like the rules of engagement or something like that. And I imagine the big one that WWE will really drive home is the referees. There must be a winner, and the referee's decision is final, right? So there's nothing that Seth Rollins can do. He has to make the pinfall, otherwise he's gone against his own rules. And then who knows what we do at Bad Blood or Survivor Series. There's a part of me that thinks maybe we get to WrestleMania 41, and there's the triple threat match there. Originally, I thought the world title would get involved, but I don't know how you do that with Gunther, although in that video for Gunther, he ran up through everyone. He said Seth Rollins sort of buckled under the pressure of being champion and broke his knee. Drew McIntyre was so distracted by that idiot CM Punk, he lost the belt. Damian Priest is a failure. So there are so many moving elements here where any one of these guys could at any point spin off, go and have a feud with Gunther, and then come back because, again, they just hate each other. So I think WWE has got gold with that match because there's about 72 different directions you could go, and each and every single one of them is probably going to be interesting. Each and every single one of them is probably going to open up the door for doing another match, and there's a triple threat match, maybe a title, etc., etc. And honestly, imagine you were the guy in charge right now of CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre. Who wins the first one? Do we do a second one? Does it go to Hell in a Cell at Bad Blood, as people keep saying? We have built this up on just 7 months based on a real-life injury angle and no real interaction between these two because, again, Punk was hurt and then Drew was hurt for a little bit as well. It has so much fire to it, so much heat. I'm pumped. I can't wait for it, to be honest, which is the same with Liv Morgan, Rhea Ripley, and Dominic Mysterio. I mean, once again, you put a gun to my head, I would allow you to shoot if I was trying to tell the truth, which doesn't make any sense. But there is no way, as far as I'm concerned, that Liv Morgan doesn't walk away with that World Championship after Dominic Mysterio goes, ha, I am in love with Liv Morgan, sorry, Rhea Ripley, and they screw her over. And I would imagine it's the same for the most of the Judgment Day other than Damian Priest, because Finn Balor, Carlito, and JD McDonough, they're being all fishy-wishy as well. But that'll be awesome, because it's just going to launch Rhea Ripley off into super-duper babyface doom, which is already there, but it'll just give her a little bit of a leg up. And Dominic and Liv are going to be so hated, it is going to be hilarious. But there is no way we didn't do what we did on Raw because that's the way that it's going. You know, Dominic Mysterio gets a microphone and says, I hate you, Liv. You're an asshole. Somebody did the translation for the Spanish he spoke and apparently just called her a bitch, which is like, geez, man. Well, what is the deal with these wrestling people just throwing that word around? Hence why we have the bitch counter on Ups and Downs. Make sure you check it out. If I had known, I'd put it on the counter, but didn't know till after the fact. But yeah, the fact that Dominic is so lovey-dovey with Rhea again, that's what you want to do, right? That's where the emotion is. And then Rhea Ripley has to kill them. That's the most important thing. There's nothing wrong with Rhea Ripley being the victim. Is that the right word? You know what I mean? The victim of a ruse. As long as she comes back and absolutely ruins them. That's the key here. People can be down as long as they go back on the up again, and no one knows about ups and downs more than I do. And also, it just means you can have Liv Morgan as the super duper bad champion for a bit longer. She doesn't need to lose that belt right now. The best stuff of her career, that twirl she did broke the internet, and you should all be ashamed of yourselves. I saw all the likes and the retweets and the bookmarks. You disgusting people. But it just lends itself to eking that out for as long as possible when Rhea does split from the Judgment Day and go Super Saiyan on all their asses, and it'll be absolutely wonderful. It's really, really good stuff. The lick to Dominic faces was a little bit like, okay, we're doing that now, but I think that's the deal, right? There's some flubbed up stuff going on Raw. And then I suppose the only other well, there's lots of things I want to talk about, like the match between Bron Breakker and Ilya Dragunov. We don't need to spend too much time on that. It was just brilliant. I got no problem with them doing a non-finish. Well, it had a finish, but like a stoppage, because actually I think the WWE should come up with a hard and fast rule for that stuff. The problem is sometimes it is a stoppage and sometimes there's no contest and sometimes it doesn't mean anything. If we just knew that, yeah, you get slammed to the point you can't get up, you're losing the match, that's fine. It's the most obvious thing in the world. It happens in boxing, it happens in MMA. It's a knockout, right? You can't continue. This guy won. He pinned you. He won. He submitted you. He won. They should all be one and the same. But yeah, we just need that to be a little bit more ironed out. And that's why people get mad at it, because they never really know which direction it's going to go in. But I got no problem with that. But I like the fact that at the moment, when it comes to Isla Dawn and Alba Fire and Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair, Sonya Deville's group and Lyra Valkyria's group, all these people are now intersecting. And most of them have said they want those women's tag team championships. That is good, because those tag team championships vanish all the time, and it's crazy. We need to do a better job with that. It does need more substance, I suppose. We definitely need more promos for everyone. We need to understand why Sonya Deville, Zoe Stark, and Shayna Baszler did get together. What's the deal with Lyra Valkyria, Katana Chance, and Kaden Carter? All of that stuff needs to be thrown into the pot, and I think if we did do that, we can start establishing storylines in the depth that we do have in other places, like the Judgment Day and the Bloodline, etc., etc. But right now, I'm pretty sure this is the most momentum they've had for a long old time. Plus, we're getting random matches, like, well, not random, it tied into the story, but Zoe Stark losing to Zelina Vega, even though Zelina Vega only had one arm. Now, I'm a big fan of Zoe Stark. We talk about it all the time, again, on ups and downs. But I never get too mad at wins or losses. I'd much rather someone did get a win and did get a loss. And Zelina Vega loses all the time. So we do want to, again, heat up this entire division. It always has to feel like you can beat them and they can beat you, because then you have the jeopardy going into the match, and that makes the whole thing more interesting. Now, I think Becky Lynch said it best. I think Bayley said it really well recently as well. Not everything should be for a championship in the women's division. It's not the same in the men's division. So we need to make sure that we're sort of injecting stories here, there, and everywhere. But there's enough bodies now. Like, remember that Royal Rumble where we had to go out and get random people to be in the women's one because we didn't have enough bodies? We have enough bodies. So now we need to make sure that everything comes across to boot as well. And Sonya Deville match, when Sonya Deville forgot to let go on the gut-wrench powerbomb. And we heard Lyra go, let go. Let go. You see, I know it's the tribalism. I know it's the crazy people. You do you, man. Whatever gets you through the day. But people, I mean, it's faux. They get so angry at this. It's faux rage. Oh, rubbish. If this happened in AEW. No, I tell you what happened. If it happened in AEW, Ring of Honor, WWE, New Japan, I'm going to laugh and I'm going to enjoy it, because this is the human side of wrestling, which is actually the best thing ever. For whatever reason, Sonya Deville made a mistake. Lyra Valkyria has the strength of 1,000 suns, so it's able to hold her up for a long-ass time, and eventually they communicate with each other and they get the move done. We've all been there in our own lives. More of this, as long as nobody gets hurt, although you are totally screwed. Botchamania is coming for you. But Botchamania, I don't go on a tangent here, is the only person that gets it right. Ever see Matthew's videos? They're all done with love, they're done with care, and they're done with like, we're all in this together. Then you get there's other accounts that are just horrible. Again, I don't want to talk about this. I've talked about it time and time again. But we really have to allow wrestlers to make a mistake. It doesn't mean that two people can't make so many errors. The match isn't good. Of course you can criticize that. Oh, I didn't enjoy it because it didn't flow well. But when, oh man, they're meant to be professional wrestlers. I'm meant to be a professional human, and I can barely get out of bed in the morning. I think Gunther probably stole the show overall, though. I mean, he came out to cut his promo with Damian Priest, and it was so funny because he acted like he was going to say, oh, I shouldn't have said what I said, then went, nah, I did mean what I say. And I was like, well, dude, I thought you meant what you said before you teased it. So it was a waste of time, but it was great, right? That's how you get more heat. But it was the video towards the end of the show. Like, Damian Priest and Gunther got kicked out of the place for being children. But there was a video later on. That's the one when he went to all the other people that had been the world champion. And it's just this whole, I don't respect entertainers. I'm a sports person. I bring prestige to these things. I'm serious. I don't want none of this nonsense. Oh, my gosh. It's just so good. And he comes across like such a unique character. And this is something that I think all professional wrestlers, all all fans should remember. We have to make sure anyone that comes to the door is a little bit different or presents their best self to us, because it makes wrestling so much more damn interesting. No one else is like Gunther like now. And what does he do in his matches? He just beats you up and he chops you and he wears you out and he works you down. And it's just as entertaining in a different way, of course, to someone flippy-dippy doing all around the place. But I honestly don't believe the Gunther stuff would not be as good if the majority of wrestling hadn't gone to the flippy stuff. And that's why Gunther is so interesting. And one day it will flip back the other way. Again, go back to the 80s. Go back to when WCW introduced the Cruiserweight division. Everyone was like, what the hell is this? Whereas now it's par for the course. So you need this layering and you need this balance. I thought it's really, really well done. And now I'm starting to think that Gunther isn't going to win at SummerSlam. And instead we'll get to Bash at Berlin or whatever it's called. And he'll win there. I mean, it gives Damian Priest a massive leg up to get another victory when people will be doubting him. And it's only 3 weeks until we get to the next premium live event, pay-per-view, whatever the hell you want to call it. So Raw is really good at the moment. I think one of the reasons it is, and I like SmackDown too. I keep seeing people saying, oh, SmackDown's nowhere near as good as Raw. I think both shows, worst word ever, are working in synergy with each other. But I think it's mainly because WWE knows where they're going. SummerSlam, obviously second biggest show of the year for them. Hot WrestleMania, as we keep calling it. That's the direction. That's the focus. I guess Triple H already knows what he wants to do there. And probably what he would like to do. I mean, things will change at WrestleMania 41. So it allows you to be patient. It allows you to throw in these little trinkets. I hadn't even talked about the Wyatt Six stuff because I'm an idiot. Firstly, everyone needs to go and see you can see like fan cam shots of the Sister Abigail. Chad Gable sells that so damn well. But we have now pivoted back to this whole thing where Chad Gable is trying to re-recruit Otis in the Alpha Academy. So we'll definitely do that singles match. We're definitely going to do the Wyatts versus Chad Gable's new group with the Creeds. All of it just worked, right? All of it just ticks over so well and reminds you, okay, last week maybe it felt like we were going a different direction, but no, now we're circling back to it, so make sure you're taking everything in. It's why the 6-man that came before that with the Final Testament taking on Tozawa and Xavier Woods, I'm good with it, because it kind of feels like we've taken our eye off the prize when it comes to New Day stuff. But now next week it is going to be Woods versus Cross, and Kofi Kingston has to come back eventually, and Big E's been talking about it too. I mean, I doubt it, but you never know. So next week that's probably going to be a bigger focus, and here we just kind of used it as a transitional day or transitional show to get to the big stuff in 7 days, or wherever the hell we want to do it. And I think working backwards is what we've done. We know what the ending is for this particular run of stories, and it means then we can get into the nitty-gritty with the middle stuff, but always remember this is going down and that's going down, so let's not deviate from it. So yeah, really, really good Raw. Very, very excited about this Sami Zayn stuff. I just want that moment. Everyone always says this, especially in WWE. It's about moments. I want Roman Reigns coming back, which you'll likely do at SummerSlam. Usos reunite, and the last guy to help them take out the new Bloodline is Sami flipping Zayn, who probably does something with Kevin Owens too, because Kevin Owens got murked on SmackDown by the Bloodline. So, a couple of thumbs up from me. All the downs I'm doing now mostly are just things that are personal to me, and this is a good thing. A lot of the downs before were, this doesn't make sense, nobody talks like that. People get so mad. They're like, why is nobody talks like that gone? Watch how people talk now on most wrestling shows. They sound like real people. I still find a way to bring it back because I'm an idiot. But before, you know, rather than say, I'm going to walk the dog around the park, it would be stuff like, I would take a Homo sapien and my mutt friend, and we should go through a stroll around the forest. What are you talking about, you strange old people? Whereas now, I think a reason we can gravitate towards wrestlers easier is because they come across like real human beings and not like crazy androids. So I'm a big fan of all wrestling right now. AEW had a great show, had a great rating last week too. People can't handle that, but I just want wrestling to thrive, hence why this is the positive corner of internet wrestling. And if you would like to stick around, like the video, share the video, subscribe, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. Leave me a comment below because you're going to have different opinions from me. That's important too. Click the video on the screen, which is me going to be talking about wrestling. Otherwise, if you are into fitness, as I am, back in the gym now, thank goodness, shoulders good to go, so I will be wrestling again soon. Come see me in a town near you. But it's grillermind.com/Simon. Use code Simon to get 10% off. There is a pre-workout that you will see on the front of the page at the moment. I don't want to say the flavor because I forgot. Till the end of the week, today being the 23rd of July, you can get 25% off. So go and take advantage of that. It's the best pre-workout ever. You can also go to a GoGo Fitness and sign up for Anthony Agoda's fitness app. Use code Simon20. Patreon.com/Simon316. Simon Miller316 on Instagram, Twitter, and Threads. Simon J. Miller on TikTok. Simon Miller on Cameo. I got loads of them the other day. We did a bunch of fun videos for a bunch of birthdays. That was awesome. So make sure you get yours. Make sure you get your Simon Miller merchandise at ProWrestlingTees.com/Simon Miller or SamsonAthletics.co.uk. It's all down there in the damn description box thing if you do want to support. Otherwise, just have a lovely day, and I'll see you on the next one.